Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another 5-Book Friday. In today's 5-Book Friday, we're talking about books with Lost in the title. And so I went through my shelves and I tried to find as many books with Lost in the title. Now, I always say 5-Book Friday because I want to have at least 5 books for each category. Sometimes I'll have more, but if I don't have at least 5, then I don't make a video about it. So in this particular one, I do have more than 5, and I have mostly books that I haven't read. Most of the time when I do a 5-Book Friday, it's books that I've read, so I can tell you all about them. In this particular one, apparently I like the word lost in a book title, but I'm not reading them because I've only read 2 in this stack. So we'll talk about those first. The first book with Lost in the title that I found on my shelf was Lost in Darkness. Now, this is part of a series. I can't remember the name of the series, but they're all gothic kind of books. This is a Christian historical fiction, so it's not going to be too graphic or anything like that, but it is more of a gothic feel to it. And in each one of these books, she takes like a gothic classic and kind of nods to it. It's not that classic, you know, not a retelling or anything like that, but nods to that theme in that story. So in this particular one, Lost in Darkness, there is a nod to Frankenstein. And so of course I was like, yep, want to read that. And I really enjoyed this. I think I read this last year or the year before, around this time of year, because it is a good fall read. So if you're looking for a fall gothic sort of read, this is a good Christian historical fiction. In this one, I can't remember too much about the Amelia is the girl's name and Colin is the boy's name. So I think Colin is her brother. Is that right? Yeah. So Amelia is the main character is Amelia, but her brother Colin has some sort of disfigurement on his face and he needs a surgery. And this is during the early 1800s, about the time that Frankenstein was written. And there is a lot of new surgeries, experimental surgeries happening, and so he wants to have this experimental surgery performed on his face, and so that is what is happening in this story. So that's why it is a lot like Frankenstein, and it kind of plays on Frankenstein in the story. So I enjoyed this one and I highly recommend it. And if you're looking for a good fall read, this would be a good one for that. Especially if you enjoyed Frankenstein, because you could kind of see the little similarities with the 2 books. The other book that I've read with Lost in the title that I found on my shelf was Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. This was a great book too. I read this several years ago and I highly recommend it as well. It's historical fiction. This takes place in 1853 and the girl's name is Naomi. And I remember in this one that there were a lot of tragic things that happened. So just keep that in mind, because she's on the wagon trail and I'm pretty sure that this is not a spoiler. I think early on she becomes a widow in the story. And it's about her time on the wagon trail as a young widow, because she's a young girl. I highly recommend this one too. I found it to be a really good one. Amy Harmon is a great writer, and she always has really good historical fiction, and I enjoyed this one. So those 2 books are the 2 books that I have on my shelf that have Lost in the title that I've actually read. The first one on this list that I haven't read is The Lost Quilter by Jennifer Shiverini. Now, I do plan on reading this, but it will be quite some time because I'm reading these books in order. This book, The Lost Quilter, is part of the Elm Creek Quilt series, and I'm reading those in order, and I'm not sure how far down this one is. But I do think this one is one of the historical fiction ones in the series, because this one takes place, I think, in like the 1800s. And it's, I think the story is about a slave, a girl that is a slave in the 1800s. I'm pretty sure that's what this one's about. But I haven't read this one yet because it is farther down on the list of the Elm Creek Quilt series. So let me know if you've read any of the Elm Creek Quilt series and if you've read that one. Now, this is one that I have had for a while, ever since I read Lisa Wingate's Before We Were Yours, I think that's the name of it. I loved that book. And I've had this one for a while and need to get it. It's called The Book of Lost Friends. Does this one have to do with slavery? I was thinking this one did too. I need to get to this one, but it does have Lost in the title. The Book of Lost Friends. So I did enjoy that Before We Were Yours, and so I need to get to this one. And I'll pull this one out from time to time and put it on my nightstand, and I don't know why I never get to it. So I need to make this one a priority. Let me know if you've read that one. The next one was a cover by. This is called Lizzy and the Lost Baby. We were at a library sale, and my son saw this and said it looked like a book I would enjoy, and I just threw it into my bag because it was one of those library sales where you fill the bag for so much. And this didn't take up much space because it's not even 200 pages. I think it's a middle grade. It says at the beginning that it is about a young girl, a 10-year-old girl named Lizzy, and it's set against the backdrop of World War II. So I know I would enjoy this. I need to just put this on my nightstand and read it right now. And so you might be hearing about this one pretty soon. But it does have Lost in the title, Lizzy and the Lost Baby. Isn't that a beautiful cover? So I want to read that one soon, because it's not very long. Why have I not read that one yet? The next one is another one that I bought recently because of one of you telling me about it. It's called The Lost Library, and it's by Rebecca. Is it Rebecca Steed or Rebecca Stead? I'm not sure. I read her book that won the Newbery, When You Reach Me, I think's the name of it. I loved that book, but that's the only book I've read by her. So this one caught my eye. Someone talked about it here on BookTube. It's called The Lost Library. It's got Lost in the title, which apparently is a buzzword for me. And library, of course, is a buzzword too. So I need to get to this one. Again, it's not very long. And it is, it's a little over 200 pages. So I need to get to that one too. Let me know if you've read that one. And the next one is one that's been on my shelf for quite some time. It's The Lost Boys of Barlo Theater. Jamie Jo Wright is a Christie Award winner. She writes Christian fiction. But what I like about Jamie Jo Wright books is they are... a lot of times they are gothic, and I love gothic fiction. Gothic fiction is my favorite. I love gothic historical fiction. That's just like, I'm always in the mood to read those. And so I have enjoyed a few of her books already, but this one I picked up, I think, right after it came out, and I still haven't read it. So I need to read this one. And then I've recently talked about picking this book up just recently. It's The Lost Art of Keeping Secrets. So Lost in the title again. So let me know if you've read any of these books that are on my shelf that have Lost in the title. Or let me know of a book that you've read that you've enjoyed that I didn't mention that has Lost in the title. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.